Okay, so today what I want to talk about is the Volkswagen Golf GTI. This car is not really my cup of tea. It is extremely popular though right now. It seems to be the choice of kind of, people kind of getting into the car scene, as well as people who used to be boy racers like myself, who, now maybe have kids or for whatever reason now, they can't really have a true dedicated sports car, so they need something like a compromise. And this is one of the most popular sport compacts out on the market. So again, I'm not really an expert on this. This is just going to be combining my own technical knowledge along with then I consulted with my friend Bill, who helps a lot with this channel, and he has a GTI. He's not a boy racer though, so I'm not exactly sure why he has one and doesn't have something else, like 2 seats and more power. Anyways, that's besides the point. So if you have any complaints about anything on this video from a technical standpoint, email Bill. It is his fault. Anyways, so getting onto it, I also want to mention this is only for the US MK7, so 2015 to 2019. I am aware in Europe it came out a little earlier. It might have even been 2013 or something around like that. I'm not really 100% sure. It's, again, it's the European model. I haven't really had to care about what Europe thought since 1776. So, with that in mind, anything about, like, oh, well, it pertains to, like, these earlier years and stuff like that, I don't really care. Now getting on with it. First thing is I would get the PCM scanned by a dealer just to check for a TD1 flag. This is kind of ironic because this is the kind of thing that most tuner people try to avoid when they get the car tuned, when it's still under warranty. They're trying to get it to a dealer for just regular maintenance and don't want to throw a flag. But this can be useful to you as a buyer because it can kind of let you know if the car has been modified or not. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of lets you know that if the car might not have been like stock its whole life. Some companies like APR, I'm not sure about what other ones would do this, but APR, at least, if you have the VIN number, they'll let you know what they did to the car, if anything, and when they did it. Second thing, and this is kind of more like a small thing, but if it's a DSG, just make sure it was serviced routinely, like every 40,000 miles or so. The bigger thing is if it was a 6-speed and was modified. One of the reasons why these cars in the DSG are so nice is they can handle a little bit more power. The 6-speed, once it starts to get modified, the clutch starts to go pretty early. So make sure the clutch is not slipping when you get that, because that's going to be an expense you're going to have to take care of, pretty much right away. Third thing is if the car is a 2015 or 2016, just check the intake because some of the early turbos were kind of prone to blowing them. Mostly it was when tuned, which is kind of, stating the obvious of things making more power than they should, tend to break a little bit more. But just a good idea to kind of just check, either by hand, by feel, if there's a lot of play, or check the revision number and just see, what you can find out just so there's no surprises for you down the road. Fourth thing, and this one is kind of important, check the coolant levels. I'm not really sure why, and I don't even know if really anyone else knows why. I'm sure there's some VW experts that can probably tell you more about it than I can. But MK7s are prone to coolant leaks by the water pump. From what I gathered though, it was more something to do with a lot of plastic being used for and around that area. So I don't know kind of what replacements are out there, but that is one thing to check, is just to make sure it's not, leaking anything. Which I guess when you get a new car, you probably check for anyways. Fifth thing, not a huge deal, but just check the bushings. And this is kind of, I guess, more of something where I'm just more familiar with American and Japanese cars, but Volkswagen bushings were just kind of known to go bad a little bit earlier, maybe than their American and Japanese counterparts. Not saying they're prone to go bad and they're it's a terrible design or anything like that. It's just that they were kind of known to be problematic a little bit faster than some of the American and Japanese cars. So if you can, get it up on a lift, or if not, kind of maybe jack it up a little bit and then. Anyways, get it up off the ground a little bit and just check to see if there's any cracks. If there's cracks, I would avoid it, or just make sure you're aware going into it that you're going to need to probably replace those. But it's, it's really easy to check, and it's not that huge of a deal. The last thing that I would suggest is, check the plugs. If it's an RS7 or an NGK or any more of those, like Boy Racer plugs, chances are it's been modified in the past and might not be the, quote-unquote virgin car that you think it is. Again, not a huge deal, but I just like to know the history of the car, any car that I'm buying, just so that I don't mind having to repair things on cars. Like, that's just part of the game with being a car guy, right? I just want to know what I'm kind of getting myself into before I actually make the purchase. So that's really the list that I have, you guys. It's not really an extensive, nothing too terrible. It's a pretty new car, so there's not going to be that many problems with it. But I just wanted to list off some of the things that I know that you should look for already, just immediately out of the gate. And hopefully you guys learned something if you're going to buy a GTI, and hopefully that this helps some people. I don't know if it's a car I would ever own. I kind of flip back and forth. I like everything as far as its potential and what it can do. I really hate the sort of like egg-shapey thing hatchback. Just doesn't do it for me. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time.